Today is Loving Day, which marks the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in 1967 to allow interracial couples to get married and live together. The couple at the center of this, the Lovings, lived in Virginia, where it was illegal for them to get married or go out of state to get married. They were arrested, and after 9 years, they finally won the right to live together as a family. To talk more about the impact this case had, I want to bring in Sujata Gadkar-Wilcox. She's an associate professor of legal studies at Quinnipiac University. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so let's talk about Loving versus Virginia. Only 57 years ago, we know this had a major impact on marriage, but how else did this decision shape America and its fight for equality?
This is a landmark case, and it's one of the most celebrated cases, I would say, in constitutional history, because it stands for the proposition that there are some fundamental rights that are central and essential to the pursuit of happiness and for liberty to be meaningful. And that's what's celebrated when people are celebrating Loving, very appropriately named, that the state shouldn't be able to step in and regulate who you're allowed to marry based on race. And that impacts so many people. My husband and I, for example, are from different ethnic and racial backgrounds, so it impacts me personally and directly, but I think it's so celebrated because it's so far-reaching. And that principle that there are fundamental rights that are necessary for your pursuit of happiness, I think is a central message.
Yeah, for younger Americans, right, the thought of interracial marriage being prohibited seems so foreign. Like you said, you're in an interracial marriage, so are my parents. So the idea that they couldn't be married is crazy. But some Americans said when Roe was overturned, they felt like all institutions could be challenged. Is interracial marriage protected beyond Loving?
Exactly. No, well, so in this case actually falls within a body of jurisprudence that's called substantive due process, where the court has decided that there are some fundamental rights that are absolutely essential to ordered liberty, this conception of liberty and pursuit of happiness, including the right to your body, which is why abortion falls under the right to privacy and the right to choose who you marry, the right to decide where your children go to school. There are so many rights that are implicated here. So we are looking at when the Dobbs decision came out and overturned Roe, it didn't just overturn the right to abortion. It really put a big question mark now on whether or not that right to privacy, which some of the justices explicitly said they're intending to go after, is now under attack, and I think we have to do everything we can to protect those very fundamental rights that are about the right to the body, the right to decide who you want to marry, the right to raise your children and decide what school they want to go to. It implicates a lot more than just Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, although we did see on the legislative side, right, that they signed the Respect for Marriage Act, was signed into law in 2022 to kind of solidify that, codify that, so that we wouldn't go back, so that it wouldn't get overturned. So we do have to mention that part too. But why pay attention to Loving today? Why recognize Loving Day if we know marriage is protected, no matter your race or your sexuality?
Well, I mean, it's to me, as a constitutional scholar, it has to be protected as a fundamental right. Protecting it as a fundamental right and protecting the right to privacy means that states can't have the option of overturning it. Legislation is not fundamentally protected until it's constitutionally entrenched. And when you say something is a fundamental right, we don't leave it up to the states to decide whether they're allowed to restrict the First Amendment beyond what's permitted under the federal Constitution. And so calling into question the right to privacy as not actually being a fundamental right calls into question that constitutional protection that would bind all states. So I think it's something we definitely need to keep our eye on. And I think, as you said, it's not that long ago that these laws were in place. So we need to really be vigilant about making sure our fundamental rights are protected.
Yeah, as we're looking back, right, at American history, 57 years ago is really not that long ago.
No.
So yeah, so it is an important day to remember. All right, thank you so
and
much.
Celebrate.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Sujata Gadkar-Wilcox from Quinnipiac. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.